5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Keep going.
11, 12.
All right, Walker, good.
Keep that chair still, because the camera's moving.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep it still.
Should I face this way
Yeah,
or?
just gotta look at me over
Okay,
here.
I got you. Okay.
Like I tell folks, I'm the only man that can mess this thing up.
I got you. I got you.
Oh, I'm the only man that can mess it up. You can't mess it up from over there.
You don't get the credit for messing
No,
it up.
Very good, that's good.
Did I hear it right? Ellen Pugh, is she challenging you?
Yeah, and you know, for me, the issue, she
Okay, very good.
and a
Good.
guy
Just wanted to
from
know.
Woodbine area, and so really, what has happened is it's become more of a, I won't say distraction, but my niece is running for school board, and word I got was these folks were kind of encouraged to get in to keep me busy in the summer, so I couldn't help my niece as much as I want to.
I can see how
Right. So just enough to where you know, I got to go out and put up signs. I got to go up and have functions instead of helping her totally. So, but it goes against the whole grain of what we talk about. I'm all for getting out people who aren't doing a decent job, but you got somebody getting bills passed, helping folks.
Yeah, right.
What's
That's-
the end goal?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are you going to do that I have not done? And what are you going to propose that I have not proposed? I like what Ludy Wallace said to me when he asked me about it. He said, not like she came to you and asked you to do something, you said no.
Yeah.
I could even get that. If you say, you know what, I went to him and asked him to help get guns off the street and he said no. You know what? Then I'm good with that. Right. But if you just doing it, then you know it.
Yeah, I understand that. I tried working with her. It's Bill Allen, trying to get Bill Allen.
Mm-hmm.
She just had some far-reaching ideas that I really didn't.
Yes.
couldn't agree with.
Yes. Some stuff you got to know what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, and what you can't. And fighting this criminal justice system.
Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the criminal justice system in Tennessee, and we're fortunate to have with us to talk about the criminal justice system in Tennessee, Pastor KWalker and Representative Love. And of course, let me welcome you, Pastor Walker, as well as Representative Love, to the show this morning. And I think, Pastor, you've been with us on many, many occasions, and I think that in a real sense, you are no stranger to our audience. And I often think about this young man on the end that we had his father in that same chair a long time ago. So we know about him as well as others. But let's give our audience an opportunity to get to know the two of you. Right. Start us off, Pastor, by giving us some information about your background, education, and experience. And then Representative Love will do the same thing. And by that time, we should be out of this first 6 minutes. And then we'll come back for the second segment and we'll deal with the criminal justice system in the state of Tennessee. Let's start off that way.
Well, once again, Dr. Henry, I want to say thank you for always opening the door and the windows of opportunity to be able to share and talk about pertinent information. I'm Pastor Kelvin Walker. I was born here in Nashville, Tennessee. Born and raised here. Went to school, public school systems here. In my early life, I got in a lot of trouble in my life, experienced a lot of trouble, drug addiction, ended up incarcerated in the state prison system after having spent a little time in the Navy. Got an GED through OIC Opportunities Industrialization Center when it was out in South Nashville on 12th Avenue South. From there, I went to Tennessee State University. I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I was strung out on drugs all that time. Even in the midst of being strung out, I had my desires and stuff like that, but the heroin addiction just got the best of me while I was actually in college, and ended up committing crimes and found myself incarcerated in the state prison system. And there I tried to pursue, even in there, some college studies until a good old President Ronald Reagan tampered with that and cut that program off for us and incarcerated. And got out of the prison system, unreformed, kept doing what I was doing in life. And back in August 24th, 1986, God divinely intervened in my life, struck down a 17-plus year drug addiction, called me directly into ministry, and I've been serving in ministry ever since that time.
Very good. Representative Love, what about you? Your background, your education, some experiences
Sure.
that you had.
Again, thank you, Dr. Haney, for the chance to come and address your audience. Born here in Nashville, again, like Pastor Walker, finished public school system here, graduated from Whites Creek High School, then went on to Tennessee State University and got my degree in economics and finance. So for me, it was a chance to really give back to my community, also in ministry. I've been pastoring since 1999, currently the pastor of St. Paul AME Church up on West Hamilton, and just took the opportunity to try to do some good work in the community and try to give back. I think probably my biggest influence, and that was my father, who you have known for years when he was alive, set a foundation for me to get involved in the community. And I will borrow a little bit from what Pastor Walker said. I didn't always take the straight path in life, and fortunately, I didn't have to endure some of the things of being incarcerated. But the lesson I learned was that many persons who aren't incarcerated aren't any luckier than those who were. It's just that we didn't get caught doing things that we were doing. So it should give us a better appreciation of how to help those who've gotten out of jail get back into society.
You know, Pastor, when we talk about the criminal justice system in the state of Tennessee, I think we've talked about that on many occasions, but if you had to say one of the most important things that you would do if you had an opportunity to change the system, what would that be?
When you say you use the number one.
Well, and so the number of things that you would do. Very
absolutely.
good.
There's so many things that could be changed, you know. But one thing, the signal that's beamed from the prison system needs to be changed, you know. And what I mean by that is we follow the individual from the crime scene through the judicial system all the way to the walls or the gates of the prison system. And from there, we don't have any more knowledge or information concerning that individual. And at the same time, a lot of these guys are in prison. They're developing themselves while they're in prison, you know, and they deserve a chance to get out and to use some of the skills and things that they've developed and some of the knowledge that they've gained and the enhancements of their own personal lives, personally rehabilitating themselves, and then give them opportunity to come out and make a difference in society and be productive members of society, you know. So that's just, you know, one of the things, you know, that I would change. There's so many other things that needs to be changed concerning the criminal justice system that that list goes on and on and on. Okay,
and so what we'll do, we'll stop for our first commercial break here, and then we'll come back and we'll start with Representative Love, and we'll let him deal with it from his perspective, and then we'll have an opportunity to sort of move this on. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. And then push it over to him, and then he'll take up the rest of the time. But in a real sense, you know, take about 4 or 5 minutes to go on and talk about whatever you wish to talk about dealing with the criminal justice system, some of your activities or some of the things that you think are right or wrong or whatever, and et cetera, just from that perspective.
All right.
and I'll introduce the show, and we'll have 8 minutes, and then after that 8 minutes, we'll have 10 minutes. But I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes of that,
Okay.
and then he'll take up he'll sort of feed off
Sure.
your information, and then he'll end that second segment for us, and then we'll come back and we'll sort of divide the 10 minutes between the two of you.
Okay.
Okay?
That sounds great.
That was a terrible thing, but in Orlando, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was,
man.
really.
I tell you.
Just catching it. Then the little boy.
Ain't just something? Oh,
got snatched by an
all
alligator.
these children. I
Yeah.
mean, one get eaten up by a
man.
gorilla.
Yeah,
and then
man.
one by an alligator. Oh, man. One,
I'm so overprotective of my little grandkids, man.
I tell you,
wouldn't believe it, man. I'm
you
like, they
almost
can't
have to
walk.
be.
Yeah, they can't even
That's
walk behind me in the store, man. You got to be in my
You
side.
can't let that happen.
Yeah,
That's
Because
right.
they get snatched up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, I'm like, well, I gotta see them at all times.
Thank you and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Pastor K. Walker and Representative Love. And the topic is the criminal justice system in Tennessee. Representative Love, before we had our first commercial break, we promised that we'd give you an opportunity to talk about the criminal justice system in Tennessee, whether from the your position as a representative in the Tennessee legislature or from your own personal information and et cetera. Let's talk about it from that perspective.
I think much of what Pastor Walker said is true. We do a poor job of encouraging persons to pursue a career after they have spent their time in jail. Prime example is we don't provide as many educational opportunities as we do. That's why I'm grateful to say that this past legislative session, I was able to get $250,000 reoccurring in the state budget for a program called the Higher Education Initiative that specifically provides free college courses in certain prisons in Tennessee. What that does is it allows a person who meets certain requirements of behavior and sentencing to take classes for free while in prison, in the hopes that when they get out of prison, they can continue to take some classes and then get their college degree and then pursue opportunity to get back into society in a good way. We have to keep encouraging persons who have been incarcerated to do well once they get out. And the best way we can do that is to say, if while you're in prison you want to better yourself educationally, here's an opportunity for you to take these classes in the hopes, again, that when you get out, you can continue your education and then graduate and then get you a job, right, that meets your skill set you developed in the classroom in prison.
And I think that that's a program that, in a real sense, that should go a long way. Should it not, Pastor, in terms of doing things?
You know, absolutely. I recall when I was incarcerated, I was able to take college courses from Trevecca East Campus Prison Program, and at the same time, I was also able to use my GI Bill. You know, and I was able to get a Pell Grant and all that kind of stuff like that. Use my GI Bill and everything, and that means I was able to take college courses and also receive money from the government, from the VA, which I earned by being in the military service, honorably discharged and everything from the United States Navy. And like I say, our good old President Ronald Reagan, he did something back there, and those programs ceased to exist within the system. But to hear Representative Love speak concerning, you know, passing legislation to get those things going with the monies, recurring monies coming in to do that, that's awesome. That's wonderful, because, you know, it's a lot of guys in there, Dr. Haney, that will avail themselves to that, you know, because it's a wonderful thing, and they're looking for stuff like that, because there's not a whole lot of rehabilitation that goes on in the prison system that's provided by the state. So to have something like this in place, you know, that's awesome. But before we get too far in the show, I need to say this concerning Representative Love. I met him back during the flood, when the flood took place. 2010, when the flood hit Nashville. I was attached at that time to another church.